Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain is effectively an ending. Although Metal Gear may continue, many important people behind it, including creator Hideo Kojima, will no longer be involved. Yet The Phantom Pain doesn't feel like an ending, but rather a beginning. The game marks a bold new chapter for the series, taking it in a direction it's never been before. Set in a huge open world, Metal Gear has never felt so expansive. It's far more than space, though, that makes the game so different. Phantom Pain is extremely ambitious in nearly every aspect, and while it does occasionally falter under the weight of that ambition, it nonetheless features and allows for many incredible moments. Phantom Pain begins 9 years after the events of Ground Zeroes, a prologue that came out last year. Big Boss and his crew of Diamond Dogs seek revenge against the man that betrayed them. Although there's a lot more we could say about the story, it's best to go in knowing as little as possible. What is important is how the game's story is told and what it accomplishes. First and foremost, Phantom Pain isn't especially friendly to those new to the series. Unless you're sufficiently caught up on Metal Gear lore, expect many of the finer details, and maybe even some of the bigger ones, to sound like complete gibberish. Phantom Pain is most valuable to those already invested in Kojima's craziness. What's different this time is that there feels like a lot less dialogue. The story relies on what characters do more than what they say. Even in the most important moments, there's not the usual heavy exposition found in most other Metal Gear games. It's a very intentional choice that ties heavily into the core themes of the game. Yet those themes aren't always made very clear, and even when they aren't always explained immediately. Again, this always seems deliberate. A lot is left to interpretation, and many connections between characters and ideas take a long time to surface. Phantom Pain also expects the player to dig in to get the most out of the story. Dozens and dozens of cassette tapes slowly acquired throughout the game fill in vital gaps. They're so important that it's hard getting the full picture without them. We were surprised by some of the things relegated to these tapes, but after reflecting on it for a bit, it makes sense the way things are presented. Initial disappointments or frustrations went away after we thought about things differently, which includes the game's big twist. It is indeed crazy and hard to see coming, but it also left us initially feeling a bit hollow. However, our feelings changed after taking a new perspective. For as outlandish and convoluted as the story can get, it says something that we just can't stop thinking about it. The game is practically taunting fans to constantly re-examine everything put in front of them. When taken with the rest of the games in the series, it presents a narrative with a huge scale, filled with countless crevices that take significant effort to uncover. Even though not all of it works, it's a pleasure trying to untie the Gordian knot put in front of players. The Phantom Pain deeply cares about the world it presents, and challenges you to appreciate it. With that said, what the Phantom Pain is trying to achieve is not necessarily what fans expect, and that's probably a good thing. It has a lot to say about political and ideological issues, things that are worth hearing, and that few other games would touch. Unfortunately, the quality of the writing doesn't always properly support these grand sentiments. There are moments when dialogue sounds forced, or things are hurriedly explained away. There are times when the script leaps too quickly, making it difficult to relate to or enjoy. Far worse, though, is that huge story threads are left wide open. It's as if the Phantom Pain has more to say, but gets abruptly cut off. Even completely removed from the story, though, the Phantom Pain is exceptional. Metal Gear has never felt this good. Although it uses the same control setup as Ground Zeroes, you're given so much more freedom as a player. By investing in Mother Base, your home of operations, you can develop a seemingly endless array of weapons and items. In order to bolster your arsenal, you'll have to acquire personnel from the field by using the Fulton recovery device, which extracts soldiers via a balloon. Each soldier you acquire has varying skills in different fields, such as research and development, combat, intelligence gathering, and so on. It's up to you to assign them to an area of Mother Base that best fits their skills. Of course, in order to extract soldiers, you have to put yourself at risk. Is it worth blowing your cover to snag a new recruit? The answer isn't always obvious. The act of extracting soldiers adds a new layer to stealth beyond getting from point A to point B without being seen. Even though this dynamic is also present in Peace Walker, it's richer here thanks in large part to the open world. Whereas Peace Walker consists of small, separated areas, Phantom Pain is absolutely gigantic. Afghanistan and Africa, the two areas you explore, are filled with outposts, camps, and villages. The copious amount of space is used effectively. Missions are carefully constructed. There are so many alternate routes, hidden passageways, obtainable vehicles, and more that simply getting to an objective is most of the fun. Not to mention all of the valuable resources, weapon blueprints, and cassette tapes meticulously hidden throughout that are often worth chasing after. The missions themselves are also carefully crafted and varied. You'll have to extract prisoners, assassinate key targets, blow up all manner of enemy equipment, and more. Additionally, key objectives will often change mid-mission, forcing a different approach. Buddies also greatly affect what's possible. A buddy accompanies boss during a mission and offers specific support. D-Horse provides mobility. D-Dog sniffs out enemies, wild animals, and plants. Quiet can scout and snipe from afar, and D-Walker gives additional firepower and acts as a versatile set of wheels. Each buddy suits a specific sort of playstyle, and choosing one means sacrificing something else. Quiet can act like insurance, quickly killing an enemy before they can alert anyone else. Yet every time we chose her, we missed D-Dog's ability to auto-mark the resources we so desperately needed. A buddy's capability is limited by how much time you spend with them, and you increase your bond by working together during missions. As you do so, you'll unlock new weapons and commands. Quiet can only kill enemies with an unsuppressed sniper rifle to start with, but over time you can give her a silent rifle that fires tranquilizer rounds, making her even more valuable. Much like Ground Zeroes, the enemy AI is extremely sophisticated. Constant patrols, numerous watchtowers, and well-placed snipers make it easy to get seen, especially in daylight. If you do get caught, the consequences are dire. Guards don't give up their search very easily. They'll scour your last known position, shoot flares into the sky to make you more visible, call in air support, and radio for reinforcements from other outposts. The enemy also adapts to your tactics over time. Relying on your suppressed tranquilizer gun to knock out guards with a single headshot, they'll start wearing helmets to better protect themselves.
So as sandstorms come in, use the situation to your advantage.
There's so much to think about at any given time that even the most cautious players will be caught unaware. Phantom Pain requires constant improvisation, moments when a split-second decision can mean the difference between success and failure. It creates such intense and enticing moments that even after 50 hours, we're still itching to get back in. Although it may sound overly dramatic, there were times when the game made our heart race, requiring a short break after making it through a tough situation by the skin of our teeth. Nowhere is this more true than the boss battles. While not as personal as some of the fights in other games in the series, they still serve as culminating moments where all of your skills are put to the test. What's most impressive is how many different ways you can overcome them. Some fights can even be entirely avoided if you're careful and clever. One aspect of the Phantom Pain that we only experienced briefly, yet left a mark nonetheless, is the Forward Operating Base System, or FOB for short. You can construct optional FOB bases that provide additional resources, easing the development of Mother Base. The catch is that other players can invade your base, stealing resources and personnel, so it's up to you to defend it. If you're the one invading and manage to do it successfully, the rewards are bountiful. Squaring off one-on-one against another player while so much is at stake is absolutely exhilarating. The way invasions play out is largely determined by how much you and other players beef up security. You can extract machine gun turrets and mortars for additional defense, which means even more things to put yourself in danger for during missions. Assigning your men to the security team provides extra firepower, but it also means their skills aren't being used to develop new things for the base. Every choice has a rippling effect that impacts so many other aspects of the game. Never has Metal Gear felt so expansive and intricate. A quick note: we experienced FOBs as a separate demo outside of our offline playthrough, so our impression of them could change after release. We also weren't given access to the microtransactions that will be available upon release, making it difficult to evaluate their impact. While the complex layout of Mother Base works well as a stage for PvP invasions, it doesn't function as effectively in the story. There's just not much to see at Mother Base. For the most part, it feels sparse and lifeless. Sure, you can listen to conversations between soldiers, but these conversations add little and often repeat. Interactions with important characters only occur at specific times, making the base more of a tool rather than a place you actually care about. It also feels like the game needs at least one more area to explore. While Africa and Afghanistan are indeed huge with a lot of things in them, the scenery becomes stagnant after a while. The story took us around 40 hours to finish, and by the end, the two areas had been overplayed, no longer instilling the same awe they originally did. Make no mistake though, the Phantom Pain is excellent. It expands and enriches Metal Gear Solid without compromising the qualities that make the series so beloved. Despite the huge scope, Hollywood talent, and technical flashiness, there's a subtlety to the Phantom Pain that's truly captured our hearts. Even now, we're still turning its events over and over again in our minds. So rarely do game stories demand so much consideration. Decades later, it's incredible that Metal Gear can still captivate, inspire, and amaze. The Phantom Pain is another significant addition to an enduring legacy.